Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 2741 of What You Have to Know. Today we're talking about and switching gears from mental health and well-being to emotional health and well-being. We'll focus on that all this month in the Be a Better You Annual Challenge, as well as for supersizing our businesses. I think as humans, excuse my throat, I'm going to take another drink. We underestimate how emotional we are as human beings. I know I did. I always thought, being an engineer and science and math-based thinker, I always thought I was very objective and so rational and wise in my decision-making and my choices. But hindsight being 2020, as I look back on my life, I'm like, oh my gosh, everything I've done has been based on how I want to feel. We'll talk about that a lot this month in terms of the impact our emotions and our feelings have on our behavior when left unchecked, right? Because we all have the ability to control and manage our emotions and our reactions and our response to different stimuli. But the vast majority of us, and you can see this in everyday life, in the media, and just observing human beings, we absolutely are ruled and run by our emotions. And if we don't take notice of that and actually have a modicum of control over it, we're all like tantruming toddlers, right? We're just out there screaming and yelling about stuff that really doesn't even impact us or our lives, and making a lot more negativity and trouble in the world than we need to. And the worst part is we're making our lives way more challenging and complicated and problem filled than they have to be. We can create the life we want, but we first have to believe and know we can create the life we want. And then we have to say, okay, how has my past experiences, my past training, my past definitions, my past everything brought me to the point where I am here right now? And sometimes that's important to understand. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes we just have to draw a line in the sand and say, okay, that was me before. This is how I'm going to be now and moving forward, and make some changes and use some tools and some strategies to help us more quickly create the life that we want, right? We can do it the slow way or we can do it the fast way. I'm always a proponent of, once we realize something, let's create what we want as quickly as we possibly can. So we're starting out today by, of course, defining what emotional health and well-being is for us. What does it mean to us, and how are we going to create it in our life, in our business, in our career, in our families, in everything that we do and we touch, so that we can set and be a good example for other people. I often say we are either an example or a warning. And in some ways, I'm a warning. I know it, and I don't struggle with it, but I realize it. And when I see it in my face, I'm like, oh my God. I love it when my daughter gives me feedback on how I interact with my granddaughters, because I don't even see it, but I know it's a repeat of how I was with my kids. And I don't want that to be the way it is. So we have to be open to understanding ourselves better, and then making tweaks and changes and using tools and things that help us to really become the version of ourselves that we want to be and show up as in the world. So that's what we're going to be talking about all this month. Emotions. It's going to be emotional month, or it's going to be an emotional handling month, and creating more of the emotions we want to experience every day and less of the ones we don't want to experience. And we'll talk about different tools and strategies for doing that I've used for decades that are so powerful. It's like how I totally eliminated depression from my life. It's not even an option for me. I mean, I might get mad about something. I might get irritated. I might get frustrated, which I'm going back to working on frustration, because frustration is a total waste of time and energy to me, as is depression. I had to eliminate that from my life in my 20s, because otherwise I would have gone in the absolute opposite direction that I did with my life. And I woke up one day and I'm like, this isn't happening for me. What am I going to do about it? Because I was the only one that could do anything about it, right? I had a health challenge, a big health challenge, and the medical profession had pretty much written me off, like they do so many others. When they can't give you a prescription and solve it immediately, they pretty much, or if it's when a systemic, lots of things, interaction with things back then, they couldn't figure it out. So they're just like treating me separately for all these different things, that the interaction of the way they were treating me was actually worse than what was wrong with me. But it wasn't until I realized that and decided to change it that anything changed at all. All right, that's it. If I can help you in any way, ask. Otherwise, have an amazing day. Define emotional health and well-being for you, so we can jump into a new topic tomorrow. All right, have a great day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.